Well, I thought we were real shaky early defensively. And yet, I think the difference in this team than the first time I played him, I told Chris that, Crawford is such a good player and a great kid, and Cobb has really come on. And those two guys chewed us up early, I thought. I was really impressed. I told my guys before the game that the difference in their team early and now is Cobb. And, what's the difference in our team? We finally ran a little bit better, and Adrian Payne is a big difference. They had to double him down low, and then he's got kickouts so we can move the ball. We're still not real sharp on it. I mean, getting Gary and everybody kind of back together. When that ball goes into Adrian, they were doubling and almost tripling him sometimes, and there were some openings. So we'll hopefully get better at that. But I thought the second half, big key was when Gary and Zell went out with the foul trouble. Elvin and Russell came in and actually played very good defensively, and that made a difference, and we just kind of went to Adrian as much as we can. But to have 22 assists on 32 baskets, we're getting back to the way we play. 7 turnovers, and my 2 point guards, 6 and 1 for Zell and 6 and none. That means Trice hasn't had a turnover yet. Phenomenal, getting 4 guys in doubles. And Costello with 9. I thought that was great. Kaminsky got a few rebounds. I mean, we did some good things, but we didn't guard like we normally guard. And they shot 46% and 37 from the 3. And that was the only disappointing part. But I'm amazed the job Chris has done there. He's and yet they got some guys that they got healthy that sat out last year, and it's going to be a nice team, I think, down the stretch, and a nice team next year. Questions?
Tom, with Matt Costello and Adrian Payne, before Sunday, they hadn't started together, I think, since Mount St. Mary's. They look like they're starting to be cohesive. They didn't play a ton together tonight. Can you talk about that dynamic a little bit?
Yeah, and they didn't play a ton, and Matt was playing good. It was just kind of some of the lineups, and we were trying to get AP to be at the 5 some so we could pick and pop them against Ola and do some things against them. But I thought they played very well together, and we just got to figure out now what we're going to do with our switching and that. That was so different from the past, and the ball screens. We had little problems early. We were going under, and they were rolling us out, and I thought we did a poor job. We made some adjustments at halftime. But those 2 guys, gives Adrian the freedom to go all over, and Matt, as you say, is finding a way to play off him. If Adrian goes in a post, Matt goes to the opposite low wing, and I thought he did a good job of cleaning up a few on the weak side. Kenny did the same thing because Adrian gets so much attention.
Tom, with Travis's play, how much of this is him getting healthy and all that, or how much of it is kind of knowing that this is his job now, sort of to run the team?
Well, I think a little bit of both. He's looking to be a true point guard first. He passed the ball. The first half, we got the ball up the court so much better than we've been doing. And that was one of the keys is let's make sure we get back to running. But to run, you got to rebound. And when Adrian's rebounding, when you think of Adrian and Dawson out of there, and if we can get Valentine back rebounding, I mean, somebody told me he's the 3rd leading rebounder in the league, and that's an unbelievable stat for him. But I think Travis is playing comfortable in that role. Still took a few shots, which was good, but for the most part, he was really pushing the ball early. And I think you're kidding yourself when I tell you that those guys were hurt. There's no question Travis is 10 times healthier than he was for really most of this year. I mean, he had the illness early, then he had a little bit of illness after Christmas, then he had the blisters. And now he's the healthiest he's been, and I think that's a big reason for it.
Tom, Gary's numbers are a little bit better tonight, but it seems like you're seeing him get a little more, still a little bit frustrated.
There's no question.
Kind of a struggle for him, right?
Yeah, there's no question. He's going to have to learn how to deal with the pressure. And, hey, tell your wife not to call when you're working. But it's hard. I mean, he had 13 shots. He had some open ones. He made a few. But probably not playing like we're used to see him play. And I think there's no question that he's pressing, and that's some of the things you got to learn. We've seen it with a lot of players right now, not just here, not just in the Big Ten, and that's the disappointing part for me about all the stuff that goes on, whether it be NBA, whether it be all the other stuff. I think players just get to that point, and he's smart enough, tough enough. He'll work his way through it. Tonight, was better, but like you say, it wasn't the Gary that we know, and he'll deal with the pressure. It's okay to have some on you, and he's going to have more pressure than this some days, so he better figure it out, and he'll do okay. I'm not worried about Gary.
2 questions. Coach Collins just said that Michigan State's program is the standard of excellence in the Big Ten, and when healthy, he truly believes you're the best team in the country. When healthy, do you share that sentiment?
Well, he just got fired from Duke. I know that, and I share that we got a chance to be one of the top teams in the country. I do believe that. I believed it all year. We've hung in there in the top 10 all year. I just when you guys asked me that $1 million question, so where's your team at right now, and I never give you a very good answer because I really don't know. I wish I did. I know that I love this team. I love the fact that I think we got good players, we got great guys, and we got interchangeable parts, but we're still not functioning, and as guys come back, it'll change it again. But I like our chances if we can get everybody back to be a very, very good basketball team, which means you got a chance along with those 6, 8, or 10 other teams. And I've been so concentrated on my guys because we've had so many things to deal with that I can't say I've watched everybody to really see, I know the teams in our league. I've gotten a chance to watch Syracuse a little bit, and Duke and Kentucky, and those are all good teams. But with, AP healthy and we get Keith back and BJ, our running game, you wonder why we don't run. I told you for a while it was Costello. And then we started looking at why we're not running, and we have different guys taking the ball out and stuff, but we weren't getting clean rebounds. We were getting rebounds that are knocked around, and all of a sudden a guard's got it or something. But that rebound where AP's going up over outlet and then we're going, you didn't see many of those in the last 3 weeks. And that makes a difference in your breaks. So when I say one guy can affect a lot of things, trust me, he can.
Tom, you mentioned Gary dealing with pressure. D'Antonio likes to say pressure's good, stress is bad. Do you talk to him about how to discern?
Yeah, I think that one thing that's a little different in football compared to basketball is there's such an eye on you. You know, not only are you out there half naked, number one, and you don't have a helmet and all that stuff to hide behind, but you know, with guys being able to leave earlier and that, and basketball, it always puts added pressure on. And the way we made it as a society, you know, it's like if you're a senior, you're like, you know, the plague or something. So those kind of things add up too, you know. But great family, great kid. He'll work his way through it. But it's not always bad to fail a little bit either. I mean, we all, I can tell you the times I have, and usually it made me a better person and probably a better coach. And I think sometimes, you know, in this generation, where the trophy generation that we have, nobody ever goes through a lot of tough times. And so we all would agree, since we're all graduates, that when you leave college, it's dog-eat-dog world. And so this is part of the learning process, you know. And you know, just think, an average day is almost 50% from the three, 50% from the field, 14 points, 3 assists, 1 turnover. You know, I can think of those were superstar days here. So you're all right. He is feeling a little bit, but he'll get by it.
Coach, Adrian Payne, 20 points tonight, double-double, 24 against Wisconsin. Are you surprised about how dominant he is after coming back and missing so much time? Or no, just because that's the kind of player that he is?
You know what? I'd have to honestly say I am a little surprised. But you know what I like is I think he learned something too. You know, when he was first injured, he didn't want to ride the bike. He didn't want to swim in the pool. He didn't want to do those things. And then as we talked to him and had people talk to him, he really started working. And then, you know, I guess even though it was very hard, I'll give myself some credit that I found a way to hold him out maybe a week longer than I could have. And I think that helped because he's not any worry about his foot at all. It's amazing. I'm amazed, though, that his conditioning. Here's a kid that 2-3 years ago, you know, couldn't get up and down the floor more than 15, 18 minutes a game. And now he's carrying our team. And I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. We got a lot of work to do. There is a frustration a lot of times with a lot of players. Adrian has it. Gary has it, you know, and some is because of all the hype, but some of it is because after you come back from an injury, you want to do all the things you used to be able to do. And, you know, it just doesn't happen that way. And sometimes it takes longer than others, but he sure has been a monster. You know, he's getting rebounds like old, in fact, I won't say like old times, better than old times. You know, he's going up 2 hands. And that's one thing a coach will tell you. You know, there's a lot of guys that rebound with one hand and are protecting their bodies, and he's going up. You know, I talked to Day after. I said, I told you, man, he's gotten stronger. He posts stronger. He's just been better. You know, he's going to have to learn to kick it out a little quicker. A couple times he held on to it too long because he's going to get doubled in that. But we're going to find a way to get it back in. We get Gary and everybody back, you know, 100%, and it's going to get better. So I'm answer your question in that long answer. I'm a little surprised he's come back as strong so quickly, but I still want to make sure we kind of bring him along too, because he does get frustrated still at times because he thinks he, you know, should be able to drive and make a great play, and he turned that one over and he was mad at himself, and you know, he's got to get through that, but that's what happens when you've been out for a while.
Coach, with the play of Travis lately, especially the last few games, no turnovers, does that allow you the luxury of, I guess, slowing down the anticipation of Appling coming back?
No, not at all. And I'll tell you why, because we're getting to that time of year now where, you know, and Chris said it to me, he dealt with it at Duke with a couple of their players, Kyrie Irving and who's the big guy, Kelly. And, you know, if you remember, Kelly came back and scored, I think, 40 against Miami. It was unbelievable, and then he didn't have 40 the rest of the year. You know, and it's hard to come back when you've been out. It's even harder to come back and try to put 3 or 4 new players together. We have got to get a rotation down as soon as we can. It doesn't have to be Keith playing a ton of minutes. It just has to be a rotation. We do got to practice with guys, and to think we're going to be able to do that in the last week of the season, then be ready for the Big Ten tournament and the dance. You know, that's not going to happen. The positive side of things is Keith's been a 3.5-year starter, 3-year starter, and he's got experienced guys that played with him. Him and Trav do well together. It'll give us a little more flexibility there. And as I said, you know, if there's a positive, I think Costello got better when we had injuries. I think now Trice, that he's not part of the injured group, is getting a lot better. And I think Valentine, even though he wasn't maybe quite as good tonight defensively early, but boy, he did a lot of good things, and he's just getting better and better and better. You know, he had one of his moments late in the game, and that gave me a reason to make sure that he doesn't get big-headed. But he was, 6 assists. He's getting rebounds. He's making shots. And he's defending better. He's playing a complete game, and I'm really happy for him because I wonder why early in the season we were on him so hard because you kind of know what he's got to give.
Got time for one more if there is.
Tom, I just wanted to clarify on the Dawson timetable for return. I think you said before the game it's 2 weeks minimum, or
I mean, don't get mad for me getting mad at you, but ask the doctors. I have no clue. You know, I really don't. I mean, just like with Appling, I have no clue. Here's what I know. The timetable is on the 20th or 21st, he gets the pins out. Then they'll x-ray him, and they'll have some idea. I mean, so that's what's today? Anybody know? 13th. So 8 days from now, you'll get him out. I'm guessing that it might be another week, and that's why I said I could see 2 weeks minimum. But Brandon Dawson came back in 7.5, 8 months with a, ACL. I mean, there's guys that are out a year and 3 months in the NBA. I mean, the guy's a freak. I told him, I said, give me that hand. I bet it's healed already. He just heals. So if it could come earlier, but guys, I really have no idea, and it sounds so ridiculous, but I just don't. And I gave permission to our doctors. You can talk to these guys because they got to know. And I'm not Bill Belichicking you and hiding the injuries, but I'm telling you that I just have no clue. Here's what I'm hoping. This is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping within a week, Keith comes back. I mean, is it out of the realm that he could come back Sunday? I mean, I'm not betting my house on it, but if you want to bet yours, go ahead. I'm hoping next week. I'm hoping that sometime in the mid-20s or early 20s of this month, we'll get Brandon back some. I would be willing to say by the end of the month, I feel comfortable that he would be back. But, as well as his knees heal, maybe his fingers take longer. I don't know.